Welcome to the training module on how to enter observations into Teaching Strategies Gold. Child observation allows you to watch and listen to children as they interact with their surroundings and other people. This training module is to walk you through the steps of entering child observations into the Teaching Strategies Gold system with fidelity as required by program policy. To begin, you are going to go to the login page and enter your username and password for Teaching Strategies Gold. Once you log in, your dashboard will appear. There are two ways of accessing the page to add documentation. The first is to click on the button that says Add Documentation. The second method is to click on the button that says Assess. After you use either method, you will be directed to the Add Documentation page. The first step is to click on the date input box. Here you will enter the date that the observation of the child took place. After you have entered the date, you will select the child who you are entering the observation for. Next, you will select what type of documentation you are entering from the documentation type box. You will have 4 types of documentation to choose from. As home-based educators, you will only use general documentation or family observation. General documentation is where you will enter observations for which you have observed the child. Family observation is where you can enter any skills or tasks that the child's family has told you the child has completed. Assessment opportunity card and on-the-spot documentation are only to be used for classroom settings or for observing children in a group. After you select your documentation type, you will then select Add Notes. Here is where you will enter your observation for the child that you selected. You will only record what you have heard and seen the child do. Do not enter observations that are subjective. Do not enter observations that you assume to know what the child is feeling. Only record facts from the observation. You have the option to add a file. Files that can be added can be video or photo of the child during the observation. You can add student work or artwork. Not all observations will have a file to be uploaded. After you have chosen whether to upload a file, you will be able to submit your documentation. For this training module, we will not enter dimensions and objectives. We will go over this task in another module. You will now click on Save and Close. Once you have saved your observation, a window will pop up to ask if you want to add another documentation or if you want to view documentation. If you have more children to add documentation on, you can select Add Another Documentation, or if you are done adding observations, you can select View Documentation. Following these steps will ensure that you are adding documentation with fidelity as required by program policy.